Hi, welcome to episode number 5 of the restoration of my RT3461, and I hope you're enjoying these as much as I'm enjoying putting these together. I'm using these really as a sort of a pictorial history of the work that I'm doing on the RT, because a lot of the stuff that I did back in the 1980s, 1990s unfortunately is lost to the mists of time. But whilst working up the barn, I thought, why don't I do two sort of bonus videos, one on the how I came to purchase RT3461, and I'll call that one, when I eventually get round to doing it, episode 0, because it's the very first one, I suppose, as it were, and one on the moratoria. That's a period of time when the bus simply sat in the barn and no work took place. And the other thing that I thought would be useful to share with you is the differences between how I approached things in the 1980s and 1990s before the moratoria and how I'm now approaching the restoration of this RT. So anyway, look, let's get into it. I hope you're enjoying this. More than happy to see your comments below if you wish to put them in there. But anyway, enjoy. Well, hello and welcome to the first weekend of March. February's out the way. We had a bonus day last week because it's a leap year, so an extra day in February. So it's March. It's been pouring down with rain all night, so there's quite a lot of flooded roads out there. But the one good thing is the days are getting longer. Actually, they don't get longer, do they? It's still always 24 hours, but at least we've got more daylight. With that as a point, as a bit of a segue, hopefully today I might get a chance to talk about some of the mistakes I made when I first bought this thing, in terms of how I went about the restoration. So hopefully have a chat about that. I've got quite a bit still to get on with on the off side of the bus. Unfortunately, it's quite long and boring and includes removing a lot of paint and sanding down and using paint stripper and stuff. I do, when I come up here in the morning, I normally have a list of things that I intend to get on with. The problem with this is that, you can write a huge list out of I must do this, must do that, must do that. But unfortunately, what then happens is you don't get those things done. And of course, I'm hoping that, one weekend I'll get all this stuff done, and the next weekend, as a result of doing all the stuff the previous weekend, I'm sure you get what I mean, I will then end up at a certain point. The plan of action over the next few months is to complete the offside of the bus. That includes putting all the beading back and the lower skirt panels. Then I plan to move to the cab area and strip the cab out and do the timber in the cab and also the wiring in the cab end. And then with some deep intake of breath, I'm then going to attack this side of the bus. Don't know what I'm going to find, because when I took the last time, when I took the off side of the bus out, I found loads of horrors. So that's going to be quite a long period of time, and then eventually the full rewire of the vehicle, put the lower deck interior back in, and sometime long in the future we'll start her up and see how she runs, and then finally repainted it externally and hopefully back on the rally scene at some point. But it is a long process. It's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately, so I'm going to be spending many hours up this barn working away. So anyway, hopefully today will be interesting. So sit back and enjoy. I'm up here in the freezing cold. It's pizzering down with rain out there, and it's blowing a bit of a gale, as you might see. But at least I've got my apples to keep me content. It's rare that I can get a job sitting down, but anyway, this is one of them, and this is the relentless task of removing paint from the beading. This thing is an orbital sander. It's a DA or whatever they like to call them. I've got my little dust bag on there. Unfortunately, it still creates a load of dust. But anyway, here we are. So here's a bit of beading that came off. This bit came off from the upper deck windows upstairs. I was hoping to remove as much of that in situ on the bus as I could last week, but it didn't prove practical. So I'm having to do it on the bench. I've done these ones already, as you can see. So they are almost prepared. I've got some green still on there, which is going to have to come off with a paint stripper because I can't get the DA into that gap. But Anyway, so that's the current plan, to get this paint off, and hopefully I'll be able to complete this in the next hour or so. So, right, let's push on. You know, I said at the beginning of the video I was going to have a chat about some of the mistakes I think I made when I first bought this RT. This stuff, paint stripper, was one of them. Back in the day, paint stripper that I bought was a chemical called Nitromors. Nitromors, when you got it on your skin, God, it really stung. Worst should you ever get it in your eyes. And credit to my then girlfriend Stephanie, who used to get covered in the stuff, and we both certainly knew about it when you got this stuff on you. This stuff is a more industrial paint stripper, but it's still been messed around with by EU regs, so it's probably quite safe, but it's certainly nowhere as strong as the old Nitromors. But what you do is basically you put it on the paint, leave it for a short while, which is what I'm doing now, and eventually it starts to bubble and it comes loose. But with the multitude of paint that's on an RT or any vehicle really, you've got a lot of paint on. It's a constant process. So you put one layer on, then you put a second layer on, and a third layer and a fourth layer, and so eventually it comes off. So it really can take some time. And this stuff, really, the best thing to do is to put it on the last thing in the afternoon and then leave it overnight. And then when you come back in the morning, it's sort of done its stuff, at least with one layer of paint. If you just put it on and then leave it an hour or so and come back, it really hasn't effectively shifted it. But nowadays, I would only use this stuff for small bits like these bits of beading where I can't get the orbital sander in or whatever other process. With the big panels, the mistake I made was we bought loads and loads and loads of Nitromors, which I think was quite expensive back then. And Stephanie and I then set about paint stripping the side panels, and it took forever. Nowadays, I wouldn't bother with that unless it's a shaped panel or it's a panel we just simply can't replace. What I'll now do is just replace it. That's the best thing to do. I have warned, obviously, about taking panels off RTs because they can unveil a number of horror stories, but nonetheless, nowadays, if it's a Routemaster or a Titan or a Metro or something like that that's being restored, I would always recommend just simply changing the panel. One, you've got rid of all the dents. You don't have to mess around with days and days and days of using Nitromors or paint stripper or orbital sanders and all the rest of it. So the best thing to do, I would always recommend, is just simply change the panel. It's so easy to do it, especially on modern buses. But on the RT is a bit more complicated with all the screws and things. But it was Nitromors paint stripper. That was one of my first mistakes when I bought my RT. Very first one back in 1980, whenever it was. I certainly don't want to repeat that again. So Nitromors now is really only reserved for paint stripping these beading bits here. So that's the only reason that I use paint stripper now. It's absolutely chucking it down with rain outside. I know you can't hear it in here, but it's been running a bit of a gale. So anyway, and it's got colder in here too. I don't know what's going on. It's like, I think we're going towards the summer, aren't we? But yeah, it's just getting colder. It was about 4 degrees when I arrived here this morning. It feels a lot colder now. So anyway, the old coat comes back on again. The 2 pairs of overalls, 2 woolly pulleys, and some heavy thick trousers. But I think it's now time for a cup of coffee, don't you? It really poured with rain out there on Saturday, but thankfully we're inside the barn. But anyway, nonetheless, back in here, after the cup of coffee, we'll have a look at this beading. Now the beading, which has come off the off side of the bus, having DA'd as much of it down as I possibly could, now I've got to look at some of the dents and bits and pieces. So what I'm now going to do is, no, don't hit that with that hammer. Oh, all right, it's the rubber hammer, so that's fine. So you may notice the rubber hammer and a block of wood, every restorationist's friend. So basically, this little piece has got a slight dent in it. So what I'm trying to do is to remove the dent as best as possible. There's quite a few of these little dings and things. These ones are quite easy to handle. It's the ones like those eyebrows around the front of the bus that are pretty much mullered, and I'm probably going to have to get someone to sort them out for me professionally. Okay, so now we've looked at those larger pieces of beading. There's also some smaller ones, the ones that sit between the window pans. So I've managed to get them paint stripped and prepared, and then I noticed something unusual. I want to show you this. These are the 5 strips of beading that came from the offside of the RT. The ones that sit between the upper deck window pans. There's 5 this side on the offside and there's 5 on the near side. Now, one of the mistakes that's quite easy to make is the assumption that they're all going to be the same size or the same length. Probably not in the case of an RT. So one of the things you could do is you could launch into remaking all of these. You see the screw holes are all in various different places. So you could launch into making this and then discover, if we go to the far end here, and I push this down a little bit, what you may notice is they're all different lengths. So beware with an RT. That number 2 there, that is number 2, got my finger over it, that is considerably longer than all the others. And what I've done, as you can see, is I've numbered them up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So 1 is where my finger is now at the top there, and then you've got 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know where they go when they go back on the bus. But, you know, as you can see, all of those screw holes pretty much in different places. So they're not actually lined up. So this is as it is, it's come off the bus. It's nothing that I have done. So, yeah. So just bear in mind that when you're doing RTs, because they're pretty much hand-built, the tolerances are likely to be different. So, you know, if you ever see one that's out and about and you go, oh, that screw hole's in the wrong place, or that bit of beading's the wrong length, if you can measure it and work it out, well, there's the reason why. They're actually like that. That's how they are. That's the joys of an RT. You never know what surprises this bus is going to unfold. Having removed the beading and the eyebrows, I've noticed stuck inside the galley there this plastic. So, you know, it's not going to stay there, so I thought better start removing it. So anyway, here is my little segue on removing this piece of plastic. This has been stuck in there to stop drafts, I assume. Look at that. Oh, wow. Oh, well, never mind. It's out now. How bizarre. So anyway, now we've moved to the near side of the bus, and this is the eyebrow beading which sits over that window. Having removed it, it reveals what should have been there and had been replaced by polythene. I imagine maybe some bus conductor or something had complained about the draft that had been bellowing in through that ventilator there. But can't see how they removed these in service. So it made me wonder what the point of that ventilator was if they simply blocked them in this manner. So anyway, we're now going to move on. My nemesis, paint stripping. As you can see, I'm using an old brush here. I'm trying to avoid getting too much of the paint stripper on the window rubbers because it can actually damage it. But I keep the paint stripper in this wee pot here. This is called a paint kettle. So anyway, this goes on for ages. So thankfully I've only filmed a little bit of this clip using my handheld camera. We now move on. Okay, so here we are at the end of almost 24 hours of working in the barn. That's 2 12-hour shifts. I normally try to get up at 6 in the morning to the barn, and I leave about 6 in the evening. So here you see me making a piece of beading that will fit above the upper deck windows on the RT. What I've done, as you can see here, is I've made a little template to slide the new bits of beading through. So once it's gone through the template, which you can see here, that's a better shot of it. Once it's gone through that, I then need to run it back through with a special deburring tool, which partly countersinks it ready for the wood screws, because they sit in little recesses. So there we are, just making that little piece of beading, and that sort of wrapped the work that I did this weekend up at the barn. So hopefully you've enjoyed it so far watching these. Okay, well, we finished with a shot of the outside of the barn at 6 o'clock in the evening. What's quite nice now is the sun is still quite visible, as you can see in the horizon there. So, yep, summer's on the way. So looking forward to next week, when we should do some more work on the RT. Hopefully you find these interesting, and look forward to producing the next video next week. Thanks very much.